So welcome back to part 2 of the latest Roll on the Adventure, where we are tangenting somewhat from our initial ideas and now creating a game of city-states defending themselves against an empire.
Because what are plans?
Yes, because it's
Yeah,
gone quite
they
far
did
from
not
the
survive
initial
contact, did
city
they?
gods
Nope.
lost on the astral realm. But it should still be entertaining, and we are planning on shenanigans with tables and being able to change values from tables in some dark and eldritch fashion. So now we're getting into the actual mechanical crunch and all that side of things. For characters, well,
You
forgot the
intro.
oh god damn it, yes. We also need to
No,
make
don't
everyone
need to do the
cry
intro
by singing the
again.
intro.
Roll
Amy.
on. Roll on.
Roll
on the
adventure,
jar.
Roll on.
Okay,
I've done
one
it.
of these
I
days.
survived.
One of these days.
You keep
You're
saying
just
that,
gonna-
Amy. You've been
One of
saying
these
that
days
for the
you're
last
just
2.5
stab
months.
someone. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we have a cohesive intro, are we really roll on the adventure? Is all I'm hashtag saying.
Oh no. Anyway, so
So yes, actual mechanical crunch. So in terms of what each person has, what's going to be on the piece of paper in front of them?
Okay. So I think we need to sort of start off with like a sort of basis, because your character sheet is a map, right?
Yep.
And if you've got something about your city, it should be on the map, attached to a physical thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're the one known for knowing a lot of stuff, then you need to put your university on there.
Or your library or whatever.
Yeah, or that kind of thing. So I think we need to start with like, what's your basic city layout? Are you along along a river, like a bridge? You know, are you a sort of fortress town in the hills? Or some other sort of strategic point? Are you a port?
I guess my question is, what would the character sheet look like?
Yeah.
Like, is it I like the idea of having like a hex map.
I was thinking literal freeform map.
I like that idea, but I think having a hex map with a certain amount of spaces makes it a bit more.
That sets some kind of general limitations on this is the area you have to draw in. You have probably a maximum of 10 slots, 20 slots, or whatever. Rather than
Yeah.
just throw a
If someone
circle
could
at
draw
somebody.
30 tiny things and one person could only draw 5 big things, then that's not gonna help.
Or somebody just spends 5 minutes drawing a massively detailed Gothic cathedral, and then everything else is just this tiny little stick hut around the edge.
But I like the idea of having a hex map, which then has maybe some other things around it that aren't in the map itself. So like what you're saying with it being a port town or in a mountain.
So you pick like a base layout and then work from there.
Yeah, I think so. So then in that case, because I guess we're starting with where your city is in terms of in its topographical environment.
You start with like the old town, what it was there for, you know, what it was found, what principles it's founded on.
Okay.
And then you kind of go out a couple of layers, and that's card gen.
Okay, yeah, we can certainly do that.
That's my guess.
So topographical, I almost like, obviously feel free to tell me if this isn't workable, but like topography, so in other words, the actual environment your place is built upon, the things you can't really change. Like if you're on a mountain, you can't really change you're in a mountain. Then it goes to core, so, you know, the way your city started.
Yeah, the founding of it, yeah.
The founding, and then it could be expansion.
So the idea is you can't split stuff up, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you have like one merchant district, you can't have 2 separate merchant districts.
No.
You've got to have one merchanty thing, which means at each phase, because you start off with like your core, and you can only put things neighboring something else.
Yeah.
Yes, I know cities don't grow like that.
But they do in RPGs.
They develop smaller settlements, but
it's representative of core stats rather than.
You can only draw neighbours. You can only connect up neighbours. You know, and you pick a bunch of labels. I'm thinking like you pick like a couple from a list, and you can add a couple more each time. And if you cut something off, then you cut something off. You add X bits, and you can't have 2 of a thing.
Yeah.
And you know, you end up with a couple of You add an important building every phase, maybe 2 at the beginning. Maybe you start off with more important buildings, and you end up with more hexes in general.
Yeah.
And that sort of lays out your city. What do you think? So it's like you do it in waves.
Yeah.
Right, so you build a character in waves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you add to your map. And then if you want to draw like a nice thing over the top of the hex grid, you can.
If you want to just write in granary, you can just write in granary to whatever hex.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually draw it well. The drawing is nice if you can do it, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe there's like a couple of advantages that you have to pick at like right early on. So if you want like underground reservoir right from the word go. If you have a castle, you've got that right from the word go. If you have an ancient and prestigious university, you've got that from the word go.
So I suppose the question is how to have the characters have to rely on each other in a way that they have to be working together instead of being all on their own against the Empire.
Because there's no way anyone can stack enough into that table to roll consistently well.
Some
Okay,
of that will just be setting fiat of if you go it alone, you will lose. You might not like your neighbours, but you will have to go with them.
Okay.
I mean, the table's got 20 entries in it. If you can only throw 3 in, you've got like 17 chances to die.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Also, if I'm getting ahead of myself, then do call me out on it. But if that's the case, then what are we rolling for? Are we rolling for a resource or a role-play situation, or
what? Roll to see how the whole phase. Roll a die each.
Okay.
The table's 20 things long. Again, this is just me brainstorming. I know I tend to say it very authoritatively, but
no, that's fair. Once again, I'm the complete noob, so I don't know if you already have templates and stuff for this, and I'm just not quite in the know.
No, we don't. It's
Okay.
You don't. I've been drawing hex grids last week.
There's no difference between a noob and someone that does this more regularly on the podcast. Your ideas.
So obviously he says roll on tables, but it's the case of, in some games you roll on tables and that'll give you your stats. In some games you roll on tables to get a scenario you role play through. It obviously depends what we are defining as what we need to beat the bad thing. As you can see, David is making this lovely table right here because he's a wonderful person, wonderful being, wonderful luminous being. But I just want some clarification, but I don't know if I'm going too far ahead. So if I am, I don't mind waiting.
That's definitely not going too far ahead. This is the bit where we talk about mechanics. So there's no such thing as going too really far ahead. Like sometimes if you're doing like something super, detailed, then we might say to, park it for a second and we'll come back to it.
As long as you're not wanting to go full fancy heartbreak and write like a 300-page rule set.
Oh, good lord, no.
Yeah, it's generally fine.
I'm not writing that up.
Exactly.
We've essentially got here, so the table you are very lovingly creating has 20 slots.
Yep. The important thing is it's 20 slots in 3 columns.
Right. Mm-hmm. Which you are also naming as Base, Empire, and
Layer.
So my idea is there's something in every single one of these base, right?
Mm.
Normally it's just bad shit.
Of course, bad shit is always
bad shit, and you take that, like you take instability, or you expend more resources, or just generally bad stuff and consequence.
Yes.
Right. That you have to deal with. Then on top of that, or maybe even base might have more neutral stuff.
Yeah.
The Empire's one has a bunch of things in it. Oh yeah, base should run the gamut from good to bad. Right?
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. The Empire side has entries in it, and there are what the Empire wants.
Yeah.
And they're generally the same most of the time. You might move some around, or change a couple depending on what they're doing.
Yeah.
But they generally cover the good end of the chart, making things worse for you in different places.
Yeah, I like that.
And then you've got the player end of the chart, which is where you put stuff in during your turn.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
And when you roll, everybody rolls. Or like you roll X number of dice. And each person possibly claims a die. I don't know.
Sure.
If there's something in the player table, that happens. If there's something in the if not, then the thing in the empire bit happens. If not, then the thing at the base happens.
Okay, so there'll never be one column all the way full. They'll all be the entire thing will be full, but
base is always full.
Oh, sorry, base is always full. Sorry.
Yeah,
but yeah, empire and player will always be in different places. Okay.
Well, they don't have to be. I mean, you can stack over an empire one with a but it doesn't happen how they want it, or stuff like that.
Mm.
So if the empire tries to send spies, a player can put but we intercept them, or something like that.
Well, possibly not quite as specific.
Well, yeah,
I'm thinking like some of the empire's positions are possibly hidden.
Yeah.
Or at least you know what they are, but you don't know where they are.
Yeah. Okay. I get you.
So you're trying to block the empire
while also progressing yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe you know what the empire has and what numbers are on, what things are on what number.
Yeah.
And maybe you can pay points to find out.
Yeah.
You know, if you do have a merchant network, you can sort of tap out your merchant network. Basically, like buildings are like feats.
Yeah, they can be used as a resource.
And they're like you extra stuff, dependent on what they are.
So, like hexes give you points to spend to buy things on the table.
Yeah.
But hexes buy things on the table, and feats allow you to do weird extra stuff.
Okay.
Like like move an empire one from, or things like that. You know.
Okay.
Considering this is probably going to be fairly rules light, I'm imagining a lot of that will just depend on
GM and their.
No, we can have a feat list.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to need a bit of help with that, but we'll have
no problem.
Sure. The good thing about playtesting is if anything ends up massively OP, then we'll just know.
Just cut it or tweak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can dig that, dog.
So yeah, like buildings are feats. I do like the idea of just buildings as feats. It reminds me of the alchemicals from Exalted.
Oh God, yes.
Where high level alchemicals just have
become a city.
The charm slots are like, I've got like one municipal charm slot. It's a warehouse district that feeds my people. Or it's like, my factory district is a charm.
Oh my goodness! Just imagine this. Like, what you're building first thing. Every single kingdom builds a pub, without fail. All of them build a pub.
Oh yeah, for the hearsay stuff. But I'm thinking like feats might cause, cause you to lose stuff next turn, and they've probably got costs, or like maybe they take a while to recharge.
Oh yeah. So for example, if you did have a tavern, it could be sort of like boosted morale, but also your army's wasted, so it's not as good, or whatever we're doing there. But
or maybe it's like swings and roundabouts. Maybe like a feat makes one thing worse, but one better.
Yeah, and that's how the players control where they want to direct their city, is with those particular feats.
Mm-hmm.
That is cool. I like.
Or
this
maybe,
idea.
like I say, instability. I think is your hit points.
Yeah.
And there possibly could be a way of, like, some of the outcomes on here might be like, you actually lose a feat until you spend a load of, spend a load of points out of your turn to get it back.
Exactly. Yeah, you had to like do proper crowd control.
Well, more like you'd have to spend out of your
pocket.
Well, yeah, out of your pool of points to edit the table.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking you have like pools based on like the number of hexes you've got in things.
Sure.
So the more like different hexes you have, the more different things you can do. You can't do any of them quite as strongly.
Yeah, spreading your power more thinly.
Yeah. But it means you can do more things. Like you can power more feats. Things like that.
Yeah, but the feats won't be as useful as if you just went, that one has to happen.
Yeah, like you can go, right, I have so much in education that I am just going to use it all to power my library and work out a load of stuff.
Okay.
So not this turn, but next turn, I know exactly what they're doing.
So I think, so the role of the GM is very much when the player says, I want to put this in the table, the GM could be, okay, or maybe.
Well, it's also like, to give fiction to it,
As well, yeah,
or especially give fiction to the outcome.
definitely. Well, yeah, it's better than when you say like, oh yeah, you beat back the army. It's like, oh no, he can narrate and stuff. Narration always helps with really. Oh my god, immersion. I don't know how I forgot the word immersion. It's 9/10 of roleplay. But yes, immersion. Wow, so warm.
Okay, so I guess how about we go about building what would be a character, so we
As
can
a sample
you know,
one, yeah.
explain to the audience
Yes.
like what that looks like.
A good plan.
So we've
Okay, so
Okay,
how do
well-
we start? What's like the first point?
Hex map, I assume.
Yep. So some empty hexes.
I mean, you can download them off the internet.
Oh yeah, they're not problem fine.
When
Yeah.
we say some, how many are
But
there?
I think we should do that like offline.
Okay.
We just decide what the basic points are and what your
Yeah.
starting point is, and then we
Sure.
work from there.
Okay,
No
but
problem.
sorry, just as a question, because we are talking about hexes. Like, do we have a certain number of hexes? Like, is there a certain number of these things?
Assume a player has 25 hexes.
Okay,
Ooh.
so then we have a certain number of hexes. Where do we go from there?
Maybe
What's
less,
the next
actually.
point?
25 is a lot.
Yeah.
That does sound a lot for
Let's say
a shortage.
10 to 15.
15 is probably about right, yeah.
Okay, so each player has 15 hexes. That is their map.
That is
That
and
is the
that means they've got
boundaries of their
15
kingdom.
points they can spend in various concentrations over the
Yeah.
a turn.
Okay, and so next is you have 15 points to spend, and you spend them on the buildings, which are your feats. Is that correct?
Okay. You buy both hexes and like so it's like phases, right?
Okay.
Right.
Your first phase you fill in like 3 hexes
Okay, you fill 3 hexes in.
and 2 buildings.
Okay, and 2 buildings.
And then the next phase you fill in like 1 building, and then you fill in like 1 building and 4 more hexes. Fill in like a few more for your last. That progression probably depends like what. So everyone ends up with the same number of things, but where you can put stuff depends on like a river town might start with only 2 hexes in the first phase.
Okay.
You know, because they're one on each side of the river.
So then we have to decide. Do we have to decide where the locations are first, or is it the case of decide what our deployment is and then how the locations will affect it?
Well,
So we have-
so you pick like Port Town because that's your base map,
Sure.
right?
Hmm.
And we could do like a printout sheet for each one if we wanted, or
Yeah.
we could a little map, and that gives you your progression. It's like a class.
Yeah.
So my
Uh,
class is Port.
Or a job. Dun, bringing it back. But yes.
Hey.
It gives you your base starting layout and
And your progression as well. Like how
Okay.
much you get in each phase.
Okie pokey. Sure.
The other question is, each time you buy something, does that take it off the list of feats that other people can buy? Is there one famous university, or are there 2 merchant districts between the players that people can get?
I think it would be the case of
It could
try
be
to.
fun.
I definitely say we shouldn't disallow it. I'm just saying we should incentivize diversity.
I mean, having a capped number of each thing would work.
It would, but it would almost be the case of, once again, depending on how we resolve it. Let's say one of the Empire events is they're actually going to send a small raiding party, and all people have are a granary and 2 libraries. You might want some military in there, so it incentivizes people. Not for their choice was to build that, but it does incentivize someone to be actually. There'll be some defense. That may as well be me. Without actually having to influence their choice, if you know what I mean.
I think, to be honest, if we pitch the numbers, we should be able to make it so you end up having almost everything taken.
Okay.
So, like, there's a total, or like, if you're playing a 3-player game,
Yeah.
you got 5 buildings each, right? And
Okay.
there's only 20 buildings,
Yeah.
so you'd have to work to not have
Fill it.
everything.
Okay. Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah.
If we set it up like that, then yeah, that definitely means that you should have enough to have the fighting chance. And it's just lack of communication and stubbornness, which
And
is going to be a
also-
downfall.
You've insured the community. You've got to make sure you don't take like 3 granaries when there's only 2.
Exactly.
well, hopefully it means people will have enough points spread around they can be different rather than
Yeah.
everyone ends up looking fairly similar.
So I
Yeah.
think we need about 10 different feet. I think we need at least 4 layouts. Then because it's basically 1 per player for a 4-person game, but we'll see. Yeah, we can work out exactly how that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the. That's what I'm thinking. So like 4, like we could always add more.
Right.
And then we have like 12 feet, which are buildings of note.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and maybe some of them will require, like, if you've got a docklands, you've got to put them.
Yeah.
Or if you take like so
Some buildings have to be next to other buildings.
So, as a question then, so if this is how the player cities are built, is the empire built in the same way? Does it have certain bonuses that the player cities don't have, or is it more of a nebulous concept that doesn't have a stats in the same way, and its only purpose is to affect the player cities?
I don't think the Emperor needs to be built as a city
No.
in quite the same way, because it's kind of over there and very big
And bad. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, no, that's just a good thing to keep in mind, because some games
definitely.
like say build your enemies as you build your player characters, and some say, in some games it's much more of a nebulous concept that only has any substance based on its confliction with the player characters,
Yeah.
and on its own would just sort of fall apart.
Yeah.
So that's fine. We can go with the latter one. In that case, so you've got this table here of I'm not sure if these are like events or like what they are, but then what would the Empire, you talked about having what they want, their motivations, I guess, for what they're doing. What does that do? I'm guessing, like, how do we want to visualize the enemy? What is the enemy? We know it's an empire, but what does it do?
That's the thing. It could seek to undermine you. It could seek to homogenize you, and essentially, make it like it could be more offensive.
The question would be then, how would that mechanically operate?
Exactly.
How does that actually manifest? Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, does
That's
it
always the big
roll
question.
2d6 and that hits you for 2d6, something which you have to negate, or is it something that you have to negotiate around? Because we can say we wanted to do X, Y, Z, or we like, but if we have no mechanical basis, we don't have a game.
I would prefer it if it would be the case of the Empire is doing X. People need to give X amount of points to either combat it or lessen it. If not, X happens.
Okay.
So
I like that idea. So Empire is doing X.
Yeah. So let's say random scenario. Empire is blockading your ports, stopping your trade. So commit X amount of points to either free up the trade a little bit. So it can either be you could solve the problem or kind of mitigate the problem, depending on how many points. Maybe. Once again, it's all maybes. But
no, that's fine. So the Empire is doing X. And let's say you roll for that on the table. It's an event. How would firstly the damage it's trying to represent be represented and done, and secondly, how would you negate that?
I believe, instability was our health bar, right? Was what we were saying.
I mean, you could do like a toll. It's like pay or loot, like pay the instability cost, or pay some points to get stuff or something fixed, or possibly both, or lose the damn building.
Or it could be that.
So it could be like a multiple choice thing, where it's pay X or take instability cost Y or destroy building Z.
Yeah.
Any of these things will negate. If you choose to do nothing, then the effect will go through unhindered and will cause you significant damage somewhere.
Lose the building, I think, is a significant thing.
Oh, that would be a big, bad, sad, bad event.
It depends what the alternatives are, because sometimes it might be that building's nice, but I'm not getting much benefit from it, and if I take any more instability,
exactly,
bad shit will go down.
Yeah, it's like in the case of the buildings being destroyed, you could say to stop the ports being blockaded, either you choose to lose some building elsewhere, or if you choose to do nothing, your port is destroyed.
Is blockading the ports the Empire's turn, or is it their like an outcome off the table that got rolled?
I would say the Empire's turn is an outcome of the table
Yeah.
and is role played. Otherwise, okay, then
So-
in that case, what actions would the Empire have?
So
wanting to
the
separate
Empire's turn is, that table that they put down
Mm-hmm.
that overlaps the base table.
Yes.
That's effectively them setting up for the turn. So would they be setting up block ports as their whole thing, or are ports being blocked because someone rolled on the table and hit the Empire's blocked ports thing?
I think as someone rolled on the table, you
Hmm.
got block ports.
Yeah.
I mean, even then, the DM could choose, because presumably the DM is the Empire.
Yeah.
They could choose certain broad types of action, and then they would roll on the table for those types of action, which would give a more specific, like how they're doing it. So, for example, you could have options like attack, undermine, trade, negotiate, threaten, stuff
Yeah.
like that, and then you would roll, and that would give you more specific. Like you could have, you know, undermine could be something like blockading ports or something you'd roll.
Hmm.
But you could also do other things like
Yeah.
sending highwaymen onto the roads, so trade
That's cool.
can't come in.
Yes.
So I think that would be a good way to do both of those things. So it isn't completely random, but it isn't completely chosen either.
Hmm.
Cool.
I dig that.
When things are rolled, does the Empire get Empire ones and the players kind of squabble over the remains, or do things happen
I think that's a good mechanical way to show narratively the Empire has their shit together and the players need to work together.
but the players overlay them on the table, so that's their power? Yeah.
Yeah, so the idea is that the players have to then, the Empire's like, we're doing our thing because, you do it. And then the players can be like, well, we can choose to overlap or do our own thing or what have you.
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of conflict resolution, at least when it comes to the Empire doing things, are we still okay with having the multi-choice?
I'm okay with that.
Pay X
Mm.
cost, either individually or as a unit, to negate this. And then there's negotiation between your groups of like, I would have to get rid of my barracks. I don't want to do that because I'm the fighting.
Oh, someone has to take each die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say that would be.
And if it's not
Something you can do.
applicable, you can't take it. If you've got no bots, then you can't take the block bots one.
Yeah. So ideally, you want to try and arrange it to reduce the
Yeah.
impact, but sooner or later, somebody's going to get hit.
Someone's got to take each one.
Yes.
Yeah, and you negotiate who can do that, and that
Yeah.
that's an interesting thing among the players because one person could say to one other person, "Hey, you take all of these things," and that player may eventually just be like, "No, you have to take this thing," and that's when
Yeah.
the role-playing negotiation happens.
Oh yeah, I got tanked last time. Can someone please take something this time?
Obviously, with buildings being destroyed, that counts. Like you lose that feat essentially. We know
Yeah.
that's what that happens. Do we want it to be? Because I'm still thinking about how an empire would die, as opposed to losing its identity. How it would die. Do we have a health bar that says if this cost cannot be accounted for, and say the building has been destroyed, you take X amount of instability, and if you get over a certain threshold of instability, your city state collapses.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking instability can get out of hand. So you have to spend points to reduce your instability.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or any instability over the number of hexes you have is you add that again before your next turn.
So it adjusts itself in conjunction with the size of your city.
And if you hit three times your number of hexes instability, you're out.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Riots in the
Yeah.
streets.
so let's say if you had 15 hexes, let's say 15 hexes would be the
Yeah.
average.
Hmm.
If you ended up getting 45, your city state has collapsed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are ways you could pay a couple of instability to gain a hex and stuff like that, if with a feat.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
could help. And also,
So you could put it off temporarily and hopefully get it under control.
Exactly.
okay, so that's the way to. So that's one way you can die, which is collapsing, and also one way you can prevent it. So the other way we
Yeah.
were talking about, which I guess isn't a way of dying, but more of a thing you really, really want to avoid, is I'm going to call it absolution, where you lose your self identity to the point where you've been absorbed. You haven't
Yeah.
collapsed, but you're no longer yourself. That's
You've lost
absolution.
so much of whatever makes you you.
To be honest, I think the fact that crossing lines pushes you like more unstable is kind of already doing that.
That's fair.
I do think it is very much a case of, it's like Call of Cthulhu. You could die of madness and you could die of being mauled to death, but you still die. It doesn't matter what you die of, you're dead.
But I'm thinking it should have the same mechanic.
Because we had the idea of solid lines and soft lines, and from the way you guys are talking about solid lines, like those solid lines cannot be ever crossed.
No, they can.
Or they can, but just
so
terrible,
all lines are
terrible
soft
things.
lines.
But
There we
only
go.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that should be the case with all of them. So solid lines, so all lines can be crossed, but solid
Yeah.
lines, if they are crossed, just don't recover. Soft lines can be crossed maybe a couple of times and then they don't recover.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's just the instability cost as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you cross the solid line, like if you're a combat-oriented city-state and you cross the line into being, incredibly peaceful, you never fight, that's you crossing your solid line. You take on like a massive ton of instability points and that could just kill you.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think though what we need to do is if we're doing dubious characters, these shouldn't be shackles. We should encourage people to break them, but at the right time.
Yes, that's a good point. So it's the
Okay.
case of
So if that's the case, what would be the bonus to breaking a line? And let's presume, are we going to presume that both solid lines and soft lines have bonuses for breaking them? Or only that soft lines do?
So you can only stack so many points onto a line, right?
Yep.
Depending on how strong it is, right?
I go with that.
Solid, like what you're saying, solid lines start with stuff stacked on them.
Yes, there's already an investment.
Yeah, they start with something stacked on them, but in return they give you more instability if they're broken.
Yeah. So the idea is
So it's like a one-off bonus.
Yeah, so you can use it as a big swing turn, but next turn you're going to probably have to recover all.
So if you've got like a 3-point line, right, you can build that up 3 times, and then if you break it after building it up 3 times, you gain a huge crap ton of points. Or you can sort of peter them off one at a time, but when you stick to them.
Okay.
So like I'm thinking, when you stick to a line, you can either gain a point if it hurts you.
Yeah.
Or if you explain how it helps you, you can take a point off it and use that now.
Yeah, if you can explain to the GM, this helped my kingdom because X, then he could be like, all right, spend it. If it's like, no, this definitely hurt me, you're like, well, get the point because you're stuck to your morals.
Yeah, get an extra point, yeah. But the thing is that when you break a line, when you cross a line, then you get an absolute crap ton of points right now.
Yeah. But next turn...
At the cost of a load of instability.
Yeah.
So, because this is happening in phases, both with the building and, I'm guessing, with the Empire attacking you, like this does sadly have a more rigid structure, but that's just the way it is, because you can't have this all occurring at once.
Nope. I did say.
Which is, that's just the way it is. How many of these would we want before the game ends? So, for example, with the last arc, when we were doing the Phantom Thieves, I think it was around 4 or so, like bits.
I'm gonna have trouble eyeballing this. I'm feeling about 8. Yeah, I'm feeling about 8.
8. So there's 8 build phases, 8 empire phases. This is why
Well, once we're playing, I think it's going to end up more like 6. Once we've built characters.
Okay, so 6.
I think we should balance.
Let's try 6 for now, and then we can, test that out, and then if we can change it, we can. I just want to get a general idea because you don't want this to be infinitely running, nor do you want it to be one thing done.
This is balance assuming 6.
Yeah, 6. Okay, let's say 6 phases. So there's 6 like cycles, I guess.
We may want a fictional reason, like the Empire is unstable. It needs to prove itself or it'll collapse.
Or you could say it's like, so my thing would be like 6 months. You have 6 months, and then either everyone loses or nobody wins.
So 1 month is a turn.
Yeah. So one month is a single turn.
If we could probably get it fast enough, it might be worth doing a year.
Okay, then 6 years. That would make more sense actually. Like building things.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
no, I mean,
who builds an entire cathedral within a month?
Yes. Some people look at it. It's very impressive.
Well, I mean, rebuilds a cathedral in a month. It's possibly more likely.
But,
I mean, you could. There might be a thing you can add to an action, which is start a building.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you as the
this is getting very board gamey.
It is.
Yes.
I'm not sure how we can stop that.
No, not at this stage. I think we're past the point of no return on that.
We kind of just gone right down the rabbit hole by this
Yeah,
point.
I think we kind of have.
So we've kind of got an idea. We know what a challenge looks like. It's the Empire slams a load of stuff onto the table. The players slam a load of stuff onto the table, spending their points.
Yep.
There's in-character negotiation. They know what the Empire is doing, but not where they put their point. Their results. Or they know where they put them, but they don't know what they are. Or they know the combination, but not the matchup, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So it goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And those are written into the table. But what those mean, they've got the list of what's happening, and they know what.
So if I'm looking at this table
what
now,
numbers are taken.
Yeah.
But they don't know which thing goes in which slot.
I get you. So essentially, if the Empire has its own little sheet that's just the GM says, the GM says 1, 2, and 5, 7 is filled in. He knows what they mean. The players are like, well, those are in positions. We don't know what they do.
Well, they give like a text description of each one, but not in order.
Oh, okay.
So the players know that the Empire is sending spies.
Yeah.
The Empire, or possibly even don't know that they're sending spies. Sending spies might be a weird secret one or some bullshit.
But they know that there's blockades. They know that there's bandits on the road.
They're prepared, or maybe they know that there's armies being prepared and stuff.
Yeah.
And they need to work together. And they know that the Empire has like slots number 16 and then 17 and 3, 4, and 5 covered.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. But you don't know.
But they don't know which is which.
Yeah, they don't know which is the bandits or which. Yeah. So for example, bandits on the roads. Hell, you could be in a mountain pass. There's no roads in the mountain. It's all cliffs today. So if you were in a mountain pass, you could be like, "Oh, I want to get that one because it wouldn't apply to me." Being the type of city.
Well, no, I think they all have to be given out.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
possible.
saying. Yeah. But the idea is to like edge it in your favor.
But yeah, you're like, I might want to get rid of that. You know that bandits will screw up roads, so you might want to put in you can get there's like a primary effect and a secondary effect for each thing.
Okay.
And you can choose whether you want to get rid of the primary or secondary effect.
All right. See, that's a good thing. So it's the case of either as a team decide primary effect or get secondary, but it will still do something, but how you are dealing with it.
Yeah, and the Empire's got like a bit of a strategic decision. Do they want to cover over good things? Or do they want to cover over bad things? Do they want to like push a load of points into that? Because like if they don't cover over a good thing, they leave that like open for you to roll. If they cover over a bad thing, then that they get that bad thing happening to you as well as what they're doing.
But we're still getting a good thing.
Or they can let bits of it through.
Yeah, if they cover over a good thing, it's while we can now get a bad thing, we still get the good thing. It doesn't completely negate it. It just lessens the impact.
Yeah, it negates some of it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
In the same way that there's a primary, like I said, primary and secondary effects, and I think players can edit one or the other per set of points they spend.
I get that.
You basically buy entries in the table.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, like I say, you roll 5 dice. All of them
Yeah.
happen. But you
Yeah,
get
you
to...
have to work out where each of them goes and
Yeah.
try not to
Yeah.
wreck everything.
But generally, things will be bad, but generally you can deal with it, is kind of what I'm thinking.
Well, at least hopefully, yeah. Sometimes you'll get rolls where it goes.
It's more of a game about surviving than thriving.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's about holding fast and not collapsing rather than going forth and being the best. It's about
Yeah.
not being the worst.
Yeah.
But you know what? If Always Sunny in Philadelphia shows, trying not to be the worst is very compelling. So yeah, okay. I can see. I can get behind that as an idea, which is good
Cool.
because we're halfway through them. So.
I think we need like a few examples of like things you can buy and things that are on the base table. I'm and like what you can do with stuff.
Okay.
So I was thinking, like you can add a good side effect, like you can, or even like add a hex.
Yeah, so
like
expand.
A side effect. You know, you get a chance to expand despite what's going on.
So this is if you roll on the player bit and you get your result, is what we understand. Yeah. So I could say, so like on a good thing, lose 3 instability, or a desired number. But another one could be you add a player of your choice, lose 1 instability. So you don't lose much, but you get to help someone out if they're in a bit of a jiffy or
I think that's good.
Something like that to really shore it up. Because we're going. So obviously, lowest is the worst things. 20 is like the highest.
Well, I don't know. I think they should both be bad, but in different ways.
Okay, yeah.
Remember, this table is about consequences.
All right, then. How about one of the bad ones is the Empire decides 1 position for your dice.
Oh yeah. Right. The Empire gets to pick where this die goes first.
Yep, and then one of the bad ones.
Yeah.
And the Empire has the same thing of actually the players can decide why the Empire picks one or something like that.
Well, the players can buy being able to pick first.
Exactly. So, yeah, but having the Empire being like, actually, you guys are going, yaw, would be oh dear, we had to.
It's like whatever else happens on this die, the Empire get to place it.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking like you start with the bad stuff, right?
Okay.
And then you add more corollaries onto it.
Okay.
And some things will get rid of bad stuff earlier in the chain, but not most things won't.
Okay.
It's like erase 1 bad effect from this is nothing.
Yeah.
And so these are all effects that happen to the player.
Okay.
And the player can then add things that also happen to the Empire, like the Empire gets 1 less thing, or starts with 1 of their positions revealed.
Here's the big question, though: is there stuff which affects only 1 player or affects all players? How bad do we get with that?
Well, knowledge happens to every player, but like or like things like an Empire move that says all grain actions are reduced by like 1 next turn. Yeah. Okay. We need to decide what types of hexes there are. I think we need about 7. I think we need 7 types of hex.
Okay.
7, that way you can't, like, if you surround 1 with each type.
Okay, well, what's it going to be? It could be...
Like, mercantile is definitely on there, right?
Yeah, like mercantile, production... Residential,
academic,
military...
religious.
Religious,
or holy.
academic...
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, we can probably get away with mixing religious and academic.
We probably could, yeah. That'll cut down.
If we need 7, we might separate them, but
so like military.
Yes, military. Arts, if that's not one of the, it could be or artistry or
culture.
Or like
culture. Thank you.
Yeah.
Culture. Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry. That part of the evening, I'm very tired. But yes, no, Ford. Yes. So
there's mercantile, academic, military, cultural. 3 more types. I do think
production. For granaries or food or
I think production, having a difference between production and mercantile is
because one's stuff from elsewhere and one's stuff from
or like industrial,
that's a much better. Half of making board games is just a good use of a thesaurus, I swear. Half of these that's a terrible idea, and you just The best idea. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just go look to any of the like mid-90s World of Darkness knockoffs. You've just
Oh,
looked
God.
up at other terms for things.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, how many words for edgy are there?
Oh.
Right,
Too
so
many.
we got 5. Probably do 2
Yes.
more.
So we have academics, military, industry, mercantile, and what's the fifth one?
Cultural.
Cultural. So what else do we have?
Did we combine religious and
Yeah, we could just split religious off into its own.
I mean,
We
we
could.
could, yeah.
you could just split off in
I think it's a weird mix as cultural. Sorry,
It's-
he's religious.
yeah, but religion does like in any city state or empire that's ever existed, religion has had its own independent kind of influence apart from
Yeah.
culture. It influences through culture, but it is not itself
Okay, yeah.
culture.
Also, what about government itself? Like how your government works and
I think they'd be buildings.
yeah. Well, I just wondering because obviously, like some people would class government as an addition to a civilization, other people
yeah,
wouldn't because
political.
Remember, these are hex types.
yeah, exactly.
So,
Well, you could have like legal courts and.
I think they're, again, buildings.
Mm,
We could just go with 6. I think 6 is all.
Okay.
It gives a variety. We can see if we can think of something else in the downtime.
Yeah.
So, like, feet/buildings.
Grand.
So, like, yeah, like, I think some sort of, like, I think, to be fair, the embassy should be what lets you spy.
Yeah, I gotta admit that's a good. I do agree with that. That's very in tune.
And I'm thinking there needs to be a table of how many of these are available for what numbers of players.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, because
So, like, courthouse lets you reduce instability, or at least it increases that threshold before instability kind of runs riot.
I think it's probably be more fun to give more point. Yeah, you have more instability you can take rather than being able to knock off.
Yeah.
Fortress.
Yeah. So, like, if you had a military base, it could be the case of any of the empire's more aggressive situations, you would get a bonus in that, or
Or maybe just it aids you in some other way. Like, once you can sort of like say this bad stuff doesn't happen,
yeah, just get it done.
and then you need to spend a load of points to recharge it.
Yeah.
So you have various shrine/temple/cathedral/church, depending on what terminology you want to use.
I'm thinking some sort of gardens.
Yeah, theaters, parks. I'm basically just thinking of cards from Seven Kingdoms.
Pretty much. Library. I think we need a list of about 50.
Just a bunch of buildings.
You say 15 or 50?
15.
Laboratory.
50. Astronomy tower.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Religious institution. They're clink.
Oh well, yeah, prison or jail.
I mean, do we have academy?
I mean, we could definitely have a academy.
Yeah, I don't think we've had university or anything like that.
Well, it's like it's university if we're going Roman, academy Greek, isn't it?
I mean, no, it's the other way around.
No, the
Academy.
Academia was Plato, wasn't it?
Pretty sure. Oh yeah, that would be tripping then, wouldn't it? Either way, it's some kind of educational institution.
I think, to be fair, the first university was a Christian one in like a can't
I think so.
Yeah, so I'd say put academy just because that's more ubiquitous.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah, but say academy just for words' sake.
Yeah. I mean, Colosseum.
Yes, everyone needs a coliseum. You don't need a coliseum. I want one. I just want one so badly.
Okay, so how many buildings do we have currently?
Can we actually put granary on the list? Is something they repeatedly during the planning.
Why not just abattoir? That's much better.
Granary.
There we go.
Okay.
Sorry, I've messed up the list a little bit.
Formatting.
Not the format.
Hey, at least I can count the things now.
That is true. It does make it a lot easier. I mean, to be fair, like having like some sort of like renowned market or something.
Oh, bazaar.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
We were just like, yep, same word.
How bizarre.
How bizarre! How bizarre! Sorry, I'm not actually sorry at all. That was a terrible lie.
Yeah, you are very not
Okay.
sorry.
I'm very not sorry. I stand by my puns.
Okay, so we're going to need to think of exactly what these do. I think effects should be like like combinations of like add points,
Mhm.
make
Add
things
stability.
cheaper.
Yeah.
So the kind of mechanical things you've got you can affect are, your threshold limit, taking points off what you've earned or adding more
Mm.
of a buffer.
Like maybe
tinkering
just
with-
being able to borrow points from a future turn effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you got a store of points you can use because there might be some like actions that are really expensive.
Yeah. I'm not saying the astronomy tower is to reveal one of the Empire's places because you're just looking at through a big telescope, not the stars, but just what the Empire's doing. Be like, what you doing there, friendo?
We're looking
But-
at it from a mirror,
Yeah,
and the
it's like-
mirror is on the moon.
Exactly. Face the wrath of my moon mirror.
The other question is, do we want to make this fantasy and have wizards?
I mean, we
Yeah.
always like wizards. I just like wizards in general, but
I'm assuming there's going to be at least like mention of priests.
so
and
wizard
things
is like you can't put it in an occupied square.
yeah.
You just have a wizard.
Face the wrath of my moon wizard.
wizards.
To be fair, I think like if we're going sort of Greek, there were like quite a few of those places
Well, if you
that
wanted
were
to
just
put
like
yeah, if
weird
you were
and you
a
didn't go
cultist,
there.
yeah, a cultist is that
Yeah,
or something like
cultist.
that.
Well, there's like Delphi and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Or
like
prophet.
the gates to the underworld.
Well, if you actually had a prophet, because obviously Greek prophets were a huge thing, then yeah, you could have the prophet could look at an enemy tile and be like, they're going to do this.
Yeah, I like the idea of profit because then we don't have to say there is magic in the system. More like this is
Yeah.
a thing.
I mean, saying there's no magic, but having a prophet.
The Oracle of
I mean-
Delphi was obviously very accurate always forever. Don't even
Well,
question it.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's
totally.
kind of like the real world. Let's be honest, where
It's
there's no
just
magic,
like the
but
real
people
world.
Still
But
believe
yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
So that and I think we should have some more industrial type things.
Yeah.
So like maybe
So
an
we've got-
inventor.
Docks.
Have we-
Docks.
dock
Docks, yeah, we
buildings,
want that.
something like shipyard or
Oh, shipyard is super good.
I thought that would be part of the docks, but
No, I think it's a
Usually they're
separate
separate.
thing.
One's
docks
for
are
building and
trading,
one's for
shipyard
going
would
off
be
places.
a bit more military, I guess.
Well, it's actually building boats. I mean, it could be like it gives you a bonus to either.
Yeah.
Only one per turn.
Some of these probably synergize in some
It's-
ways as well.
You could count this square as either a mercantile or a military square.
I would say
Yeah.
one of the things we need now is either something like an inventor or something like a doctor or medic.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
actually, medicine.
Yeah.
medicine's
herbalist.
good.
Okay,
What's-
so what would we call that? I'm not sure what it's called.
yeah.
Doctorium.
It's not the Doctorium. There's a whole flipping place in Athens, and it's really famous, and it's the goddamn Hippocratic place. Oh my god, what is it called? I'm gonna
Temple
Google
of
that.
Hippocrates.
Google.
Yeah. It annoys me because I did my whole bloody flipping GCSE on it. And now I've forgotten it because go school education.
Apothecary.
Yeah, that
Apothecary. That's for
It's
well-
not that. It
I
was.
don't think.
Poisons.
Well, I know it's not that, but it's more
Asclepion. That was it. We're definitely not using that word.
Skypian. Yeah.
But it's an Asclepion. That's what it was. It's essentially just a place like, you're not feeling too well? Just come here, chill out. We'll tell you work,
let's
tell me
go
sick.
for the apothecary then.
Apothecary is probably better.
Because at least people
I-
would know what that one is.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I knew there was a word for it, and then I read it. I'm like, nah, nah, friends.
Okay, so that's the 15 building types.
Right, we need to do more player actions. That's the main thing we're missing.
Yes, we will wait. Oh, sorry, terribly.
And then we also need to fill in this bad shit table
Quite.
and a few empire tables as well.
And we have
It's
5
quite a
minutes
lot
to
of
do it.
work here to do by Friday.
We can persevere. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, if in the end you just write down like this is what generally needs to be done, I can do in the bits of free time I have.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, I've got some free time tomorrow.
This is the problem with this the whole podcast thing is like building big complex games is cool, but it also takes time.
Yeah.
Doing it over 2 hours
Right
of
then.
conversation is quite hard.
No,
Yeah.
but we're bloody impressive for how much we've done in 2 hours of just Here is ideas. Here is ideas. By the way, here's suddenly a game which is actually looking pretty good, and I'm really interested in playing it. It's like,
We do this. We're pretty consistent for that.
I know, I approve. It's almost like I'm glad to be on here.
Yay!
Yay! Woo! Yay! Great.
So, what do we do next?
Well,
Okay.
according to the timesheet, we say what everyone's excited about
All right, so
for the next one.
let's do that then.
Okay. I'm really looking forward to thinking a bit about my culture and describing my gloriously extra outfit that my city god is wearing.
Fantastic.
Oh god.
Oh, don't worry.
I am totally doing that.
Oh, I'm going extra as well. It's going to be an absolute peacock up in here.
Yeah, I do like the idea of character gen. I think that's good. We can have some real fun with that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the
I
sort of
think-
waves.
That's gonna be fun. I'm interested to see how this will work because like you've been saying, this is more of a board gamey thing than what we've done
Yeah.
before, which is just an unfortunate leaning, I guess, considering we're an RPG podcast. But I'm interested to see what we'll learn from this, and if any ideas from this could be, made into more RPG-ish things later on.
Yeah. I was about to say, I'm definitely leaning on the, I agree with most. That, I'm intrigued to how much RPG we can put into it ourselves, and then having a look at it go, oh, actually, we can tweak. I'm curious to what we pick as our lines in the sand.
Yeah, I think
Because
that's interesting.
I also enjoy that subconsciously we have both figured out a way that you can definitely pick a line in the sand which will never come up, but you won't get any points for it.
Yeah,
You're going to get absolutely no points for it, and you've just wasted everyone's time. But you can pick a line in the sand which comes up too often, and then you're struggling in a whole different way. So
yeah.
that'll be a fun little counterbalance to be like, can we do that, or do we have to come up? We'll find out next time. Something
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah,
That's what.
given that this is a bit more actually crunchy and more hard rules than most of the other things we've done, so it's going to be interesting to see how good a job we manage to do of that, or if it ends up being slightly squiffy and probably OP or underpowered in.
To be fair, nothing will be as bad as when we were doing the Christmas thing, which was only being able to communicate in random sounds.
Oi.
Try to forget that ever happened.
That was fun.
It was fun. I still think gingerbread witch doll things was more entertaining. That might just because I was DMing that one.
That was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
I really
But,
enjoyed that.
For anyone that's not listened, you should listen to the Christmas episode. It was a bit bonkers, but quite entertaining.
Then we have a very important question. Who is GMing?
Not me.
Do you want me to GM?
I guess,
If
yeah.
you're up for it.
Have a new guy come in. That's good.
But you wanted to describe your dude.
I did want to describe my dude. He was
You
going to have a
just have an
fantastic
evil
accent.
Oh god, you just have an evil peacock empire.
Oh, you mess with the evil empire. There we are.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Oh,
what could
no.
possibly go wrong?
Right
There we
then.
go. There's something to look forward to. There's your cliffhanger at the end of it.
Dun dun dun.
But it's the thing, if you can get the new person who's not very good with the rules to understand and be able to play it, and that's a very good sign that we're on the right track.
Do you know what we are missing though?
A name?
Yeah.
Okay, what do we want to call this, folks?
I feel there's a table we should roll for it, but there's so many tables. I don't. A desperate alliance, I think, is very much as good as going to be. Is going to be a desperate alliance, but that's just an idea.
I'm trying to think of synonyms for God or other words for God to form into a decent title, but coming up blank.
I'm just thinking of the. There was an alternate name for a bannermancy floated in unknown armies, which was Polisurgy.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure a divine
which is-
cock-up is not safe for work.
A divine cock-up.
I'm not saying that's probably how it'll go, but
Because like the old
yeah.
like urgy for magic was the same as like working.
Yeah.
So it's kind of got like that dual meaning of like city magic and the magic of cities and the workings of cities.
What was the term?
So that's pardon?
What was the term? Sorry, I missed it first time around.
Polisurgy.
Oh, I like that name.
I like maybe just call it Polisurgy. That's just a dope name.
I like that name.
I would say raise your hands, but we're on voice chat, so all in favour say aye.
We
Aye.
do get
Aye.
this sometimes, yeah. Aye.
Okay.
I can go with that. I didn't
It's
expect
called
it to
Polisurgy.
actually get it.
But there we are. You just have faith in yourself. Faith in yourself, Dave.
Cool. So, do you want to lead us out, Ed?
Oh goodness, I have such power now as the DM. Now will corrupt me utterly. No. Well, first of all, thank you ever so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure to be on here, and it's been a wonderful time. I hope everyone else put up with my bullshittery as much as I did. And to anyone listening, absolute pleasure to have you listening, and I hope to see you next time as I attempt to play this game and be the Marvelous Empire. Ta-ta, fellows. See you next time.
Bye.
See you next time.
See ya. Bye.